Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Second Age Show. My name is Strider, and here with me I have V. Hello.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
Very happy to have you here. And we have Cathy. Hello.
Hi, I promise I'm going to keep it short and hopefully sweet today and for any day forward. Okay.
We are looking forward to your takes. And this is also our first Second Age show of the year, so it's going to be a very fun one. I'm looking forward to this. May this first episode of the Second Age show in this year be a good hint at what lies forward. So let us get right into it. V, do you want to maybe share the first exclusive of 2024?
Of course, my pleasure. So I'm really excited to share with you what will be our first scoop for this year. And it is that when the stranger and Nori travel east, they will encounter a wizard that will help train the stranger, improving his abilities and magic, making him very powerful. So there you have it, folks. It seems like we are having a new Luke Skywalker Yoda moment. That was the first thing I thought when I read it, and I had to insert more nerdiness in the conversation with it. So it seems really promising, really exciting, and really, I don't know. Also, we have to note that it is unsure yet whether this wizard is one of the starry or just another magical creature. So we don't know exactly if he's meeting one of his other 5 companions or if that magical creature is something else. And given that they're going to RHUN, which is a very unexplored area, I think they have a lot of things to add in and do with the story. So it can be something else other than any story. What do you guys think?
I think that this new wizard or whatever is not called Yodadalf the Wise. I'm gonna be annoyed. Cathy, what do you think of this? How does this sound to you?
It
Adventures of
sounds
Stranger and Nori in the East.
okay. So it sounds to me like Din Djarin, that would be Nori, Grogu, that would be Stranger, and Luke Skywalker, that would be the mysterious wizard. And unlike Mando, we are actually going to see the training of the baby with enormous powers. So I'm really looking forward to it because training trope is one of my favorite tropes. I'm a huge fan of it in shows like Cobra Kai. We've seen it also on Game of Thrones and like Star Wars, of course. And I say the crazier the type of training, the better. So yeah, I'm aboard.
Um, I like that we went into all this Star Wars parallels. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I mean, it fits with everything that they set up in season 1. So yeah, like it fits. But it's very interesting that we have. I don't know. It's all a strange concept because we really don't know a lot about wizards or like about the Istari, if you want to call them like that. Um, the magical system in Tolkien's world is very it's called a soft magical system. It's not very defined. It's all very vague in many ways, and it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. Like since the Starry are from the Maiar, they are these spirits of power, and body is like a suit for them. Like they don't actually need a physical body. When the Istari are sent to Middle Earth, they kind of forget in some ways. I don't remember the exact place where it's quoted. I think Gandalf says at some point, but basically they kind of forget this past life, and they kind of become sort of actually human, even though they know they're not human, and they have these like distant memories of the past. They can kind of think about, and they can know things that are more of this knowledge of existence and so on. But it's all kind of vague, like this more distant memory, because they are kind of mortal, or like they have a physical body. So it's interesting to see. It's an interesting concept of how would an Istari once they get this body, once they get put into this body, how this process of discovering their magical abilities works. So I guess this is something that they're trying to explore here, how they're going to do it, like what the execution will be. That's going to be interesting. It might be good, it might be bad, it might be something in between, but I think it's interesting that we don't know at the moment. Is it one of these Starry also, or another magical character? Honestly, I would prefer it's the. I'm hoping this is one of the Blue Wizards, and whoever this person is, because it was referenced. If you remember those, how are they called? Those three witches or whatever. They do reference some person that kind of send them to look for the stranger or something like that. So I'm hoping that this other person is the other Blue Wizard, and then that this is how we get the two Blue Wizards. But I don't know. It's interesting concept of how can an Istari how can an Istar learn magic? That's an interesting concept to explore. I went on a little lore meta exploration. Yeah, let's hear it.
I have a thought, when you said that they forget their Maiar life and become human. I think that Rings of Power did a really great job with Stranger in that regard, because the first episode opens with a quote that says, "Nothing is born evil." And then at the end of the episode, we get Stranger who is literal baby, except in adult body, but he is in fetal position, like he is about to be born. He is neither good nor evil. How he is going to turn out will depend on his upbringing. So somebody is going to take the role of his parent. And that's Nori, which is very interesting, because usually it's an old character who tutors the young character. And we have this girl who is not even, it hasn't come of age yet. She takes the role of his mother, teaches him the most basic stuff to feed, how to stay, warm, and also instills morals. So I find that very, very interesting and unique. And that's why I liken it to Din Djarin and Grogu, because Stranger is Rings of Power's baby with, uncontrollable, dangerous powers, even though he looks like an older man, right? But he is a baby. And it's going to be really interesting to see, how that develops. But yes, the concept that you said that they forget their prior life, is really well executed here, in my opinion.
V, do you want to add something to that?
I think I will add when you saying the second scoop, which has some connection with what we are talking about already. So
okay, then just before I go to the second scoop, I do want to agree with Cathy. I think that it was done very well in the first season. We do see that's actually really good. It does connect very well to what I previously said. It's like, how would this huge spirit that was there since before existence itself, like before the breaking of the first silence, they were all there, all the Maiar, all the Valar, and to have a spirit like this, like what does it happen when this spirit is shunned into a physical body? And then I agree, like it was a really interesting arc, and I do think it was done really cool. Whether it fits, actually, no, it doesn't fit with what we know from the lore. When they arrive, when the Istari arrive to Middle Earth, they are like proper adults. They know why they're there. They know, but so if we separate that strictly what they're doing in the show, I do think it's a very interesting and so far pretty well executed idea of what happens when you shun a mighty spirit of an angel into a physical body. But speaking of all of that, something very important. So the second exclusive for tonight is that for RHUN, Amazon got special permission for RHUN storyline. Amazon got special permission and access to 2 texts outside of the appendices. One being from the unfinished tales around the Istari, and consequently also they got access to use all 5 wizards if needed. And the other text is probably the text that is found in the Peoples of Middle Earth, that where it is mentioned that some of the Istari were around in the Second Age, and that they also traveled east. So that's pretty cool. Lee, what do you think of this?
Wait, my mic was off. I never hid in this show that I'm a big delusional fan of the theory that the stranger is one of the Blue Wizards. And this revelation makes me hope even more that he is in fact a Blue Wizard, and now we'll connect it with the thing you've said in the first point, that maybe the magical creature that they will encounter and that will train the stranger is actually the other Blue Wizard that has sent for the evil
those witches
things.
I think
I
forgot what they were called actually, but
I remember like the Dweller, but I forgot the group
Mystics
name.
I think Mystics,
the Mystics, yes, the Mystics that had sent the Mystics to find basically Sauron, but they found another Istari. So it would be really interesting, because if that's the case, that means that the other Blue Wizard is already evil and will try to make stranger evil as well. But there is also a case that maybe the Blue Wizard in RHUN, he's still good, and he sent the Mystics to find Sauron in hopes of like capturing the evil before he does any harm in Middle Earth. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't really think it fits with how the Mystics presented in the previous season. So I don't know, it's a very mixed feeling, because if we already see them evil, I don't know how it will go. But on the other hand, if the stranger is Gandalf and he meets one of the Blue Wizards, where is the second Blue Wizard first? And when all the other Istaris are coming to Middle Earth, or if they are there already. So I have many questions about the Istaris. How will they plan them out? And I'm already trying to make like theories of how they could approach this. And then on the other thing that it's really promising, by the way, that they got those texts and they got like the stuff that Tolkien has written, where they were mentioned going around in the Second Age and traveling east and doing stuff. So let's hope we see some like events that, even if you're a fan of the books and stuff, you maybe not have read them. So it will be really interesting to see how these will match with the story.
Well said. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to take all this and just hopefully make something sensible out of that, because it is a very complicated issue. Cathy, how do you feel about the fact that we got that Amazon got the rights for this, and that they hopefully can show us all 5 wizards, maybe even?
I know nothing about that lore, to be honest. And the only thing that I'm interested is well-developed relationships, and especially how all that is going to affect the stranger and Nori relationship, because they're our dynamic duo, their mom and her son. And like I just want to see like how all that is going to reflect on that relationship, which should be the central focal point of the whole thing. Like, so we will see, but like that's my only like interest in relationships between all these characters.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we might end up really seeing something like you said about Dinjari and Grogu and all of that, because yeah, what is Nori going to be doing while we are looking at or like what she is looking at the stranger learning magic. But I wanted to just read a quote just to maybe refresh some memories here regarding the Blue Wizards. So it says, their task was to circumvent Sauron, to bring help to the few tribes of men that had rebelled from Melkor worship, to stir up rebellion, and, after his first fall, to search out his hiding and to cause dissension and disarray among the Dark East. They must have had a very great influence on the history of the Second Age and Third Age in weakening and disarraying the forces of the East, who both in the Second Age and Third Age otherwise have outnumbered the West. So, in the lore, Tolkien did have. So at first he says that only one of the Starry stayed faithful to his task, and that's Gandalf. He says that they fell under the shadow and they started some secret cults and magic traditions, similar to what happened to Saruman. But then in one of the later, I believe one of the letters, he then says that this quote that I just read first, that they actually did do a lot of good stuff there. So it's interesting to see how they're going to try to fit all of this. I'm hoping, actually, I don't know what I'm hoping with this, because it's definitely very different when we compare it to the lore. It's interesting that there might even be an option that this is that this is not one of the Blue Wizards, and that this magical character that will be teaching this wizard might not even be one of the other wizards. Even though I would bet, like, especially now that we know that they have the rights to the Blue Wizards, it's just like a slam dunk that everybody wants to see Blue Wizards. Like, just give us Blue Wizards.
I mean, can you blame people?
Yeah, like they are one of the coolest obscure things in Tolkien lore.
I mean, it's the most basic obscure thing in Tolkien lore that you can know. Like,
I think that we are going to see them, and this also gives Amazon a chance to develop them, because in the Tolkien lore, they are just a footnote. So I think that this is the part of straying from the source that fans are going to appreciate, especially if it's done well, if they're like well-developed characters. But I just want to add one thing. You asked what would Nori do during that training. She could learn magic because the mystics are human, and we know that in Tolkien lore, a lot of humans could learn magic. They didn't have to be, like natural born wizards or, like elves. Like humans could do magic, and why not? Like a little Harfoot could learn magic as well. And also, Nori is different from the Hobbits because she likes power. She at the end of the show, she is the most powerful being in Middle Earth because she has control over the most powerful being in Middle Earth, which is Stranger. And she wants to make an influence and impact on the world, and that's craving power. She may not be aware that it's desire for power, but it is. So I think it's going to be very interesting, like to see how she reacts, and like what she learns, and like how all that like power going around her like impacts her character. Maybe she like becomes like Gollum, you never know.
Well, that's an interesting connection there. I think you do hit some. Just from my angle, obviously, we don't know. They can do whatever they want. They might as well do exactly that. But on my side, I don't really read it like that. I think we are just meant to see the adventurous gene in her that we later see in the Tooks, and especially then in Bilbo and Frodo. Many centuries later. So I think that's the main thing they're doing there. I don't think the nature of hobbits is that they do not desire power.
But
Even
Now that you said
but she
Tooks,
must.
even Smeagol himself doesn't like he uses the ring to bite the feet of his fellow tribesmen, and then he just goes into the depths under a mountain and stays there for a couple of centuries. Like I disagree that a hobbit could desire power, but I can see how you could get there, and I wouldn't say that it's completely off the table. They might go some weird route like that, but overall I disagree that that's something that would happen with the hobbits.
No, I mean,
But-
like, I understand. What I'm just saying is
But
that
I get it.
unlike the hobbits who were prompted into adventure by Gandalf, Nori is different. She says, I want to make an impact on the world. We have to influence, like have good influence. We have to help. We can't be isolated all the time. But wanting to help is also power, like because you make some changes. And even though we don't call it power or desire for power, it is because you make an influence, and influence is power. So she would be like the first influencer, like ever, like that sort of thing. Like,
welcome to my vlog with stranger.
What do you think of this?
Actually, when you said the Tooks, it reminded me that somewhere in the family tree they have a fairy. So what if
Rumored.
Nori is that fairy, but it got lost like in the generations, and it stayed as a rumor, and it got translated into a fairy, but overall was a hobbit that learned a bit of magic. So it's very far-fetched because there are generations apart. Like there is one whole age that they have to go through. But yeah, it's funny, and I think I have no clue what Nori will do. Maybe she will do what hobbits do best. She will sneak around and listen to conversations that she shouldn't be listening.
And somehow save the world along the way.
just a quick
Exactly.
reminder, at the end of this last episode, when stranger says, they showed me what I am, I'm Sauron, I'm evil. Nori takes power in her hands, power over him, and says, no, only you can tell them what you are. And what he is what she told him that he is. That's power, guys. Really, come on. But okay, you'll see.
I mean, if you want to read it like that, I mean, that's absolutely you have the right to interpret it like that. I wouldn't say that's power, but but speaking of hobbits and adventures and them wanting to see what else is out there, there's a pretty cool bit of news that maybe we could share with us, like as our third exclusive of the evening.
What else is out there is that Mumakils and Oliphaunts are creatures internally listed in the production for for the Rings of Power Season 2. So we are seeing some Oliphants, I guess, which I realize now when I pronounce it might sound a bit not right, but That's fine.
It is fine.
So I guess that I have no thoughts on this. I don't know. I mean, we are going to RHUN and we are going east, so I think it was expected to see those creatures. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you have any more thoughts than just okay?
I do one quick thought. Okay, so as everyone knows, a big deal these days is a fortune leak. And one of these fortune leaks said that there was an episode completely devoted to a horse. A silent episode, no dialogue, just a horse. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe they got a wrong information. It's actually a silent episode dedicated to Oliphaunt. That's all I can say.
I can expand on that actually. So this is what's going to happen. All right. You're absolutely right. That absolutely 1000% serious article that makes 1000% sense. Yes, Amazon is totally going to spend one episode just filming one animal, and that's just going to be the whole episode. But yeah, you are right. It's not going to be a horse. It's going to be about one of the Mumakil. And what I actually wanted to reference is the fact that in the books, Sam, as him and Frodo and Smeagol are sneaking through Ithilien, Sam is reminded of some old poem that comes from the deep ancient lore of the hobbits from the years when they were nomads, when they were still roaming the world, and it is a poem about creatures that they call Oliphaunts, and it is like said these are huge beasts that have houses that they're so big that people build houses on their backs and so on. And of course, a bit later during that chapter, they actually run into they are looking at the army of one of Sauron's armies marching towards the Black Gate, and they see Oliphants, or as the people of Gondor actually call them, Mumakil. And I think it's not surprising but actually it's really cool, and it does make sense. For sure, they could make it make a lot of sense that we will see Mumakils during Rings of Power. Since we are seeing these proto-hobbits, it makes sense that maybe they will see these huge beasts, and then this will become a story that maybe Nori will tell to her people when she comes back and so on. And then that becomes this story that across the centuries is going to be transferred from one generation to the other, and then all the way several thousand years afterwards, Sam is going to recite this poem to Smeagol and Frodo. So I think that's pretty cool.
I love it.
And yeah, there's going to be a whole episode.
Yeah. Bring it.
A full episode.
Love it so much. Yeah.
And while that episode goes, like, Nori will make her vlog influencing people. It's strange.
Hashtag discovering the East.
Yeah, exactly. And then this will stay later for later generations to discover. I really love those aspects when it comes to the show, that you have like snippets of how myths and like the people tales are created, and then they're passed down generations from mouth to mouth. It's amazing, because I think it's really like Tolkienian and stuff. So I like that little detail.
Yeah, same. So do we have any final comments regarding this? I mean, I think it's going to be very cool to see Mumakils. I think it's maybe interesting to think like how big of a role will they have? Like, will we also see them now already being used as beasts of war, or will they just be somewhere in the distance? Maybe as Nori and Stranger are traveling, in this area around RHUN, and maybe they just see them in the distance, and maybe they see some people trying to tame them or something. I think it's going to be
Maybe
very
it's
interesting,
more-
but I don't. Yeah.
It's a more peaceful time, so maybe there are indeed houses on their backs that are just houses and not war machines.
Oh, I love that.
So
That would be actually that would be really cool. Yeah, right.
Really cool, yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
really cool. That's where. Yeah,
Because
I would love
think-
that. That would be nice. We don't
yeah.
have to see Mumakils die in this show as well.
Yeah,
at
no,
least,
no, no.
at least not for a few seasons, I guess. Okay, so I think we can move to the final exclusive of the evening then. Exclusive number 4. The Stranger is being built up to be a future major rival and enemy against Sauron in future seasons. This season is where he will learn and improve his abilities. So this is more like a general overview of the things we've been hearing, I guess, about the Stranger. That basically sums up his story arc in this season and in the show. And one thing that's interesting here, the way it's presented here, it reminds me a lot of something that Gandalf himself actually says. So I'm going to misquote it because it's been like 2, 3, 4 years since I read the Return of the King the last time. So when he's saying at the end of the Return of the King, when the hobbits are going back to Shire and very close to Shire, just before that, when they reach the old forest, Gandalf is saying goodbye to the hobbits, and I think he says he wants to go and talk with Tom Bombadil actually, and he's saying goodbye to them, and I believe he says something. I haven't seen Tom in many years, and I think we're going to have a very long talk now. And then he says that the Third Age was my age and Sauron was my enemy, and this is the phrase I'm thinking of. Like, Sauron was my enemy. I believe that's when he says it. Maybe he says it in the Great Heavens, but I think this is when he says it. And the fact that this is formulated in such a way that it says that Stranger's being built up to be the future major rival and enemy against Sauron, it reminds me of that. So I don't know if this is another little clue. It's actually Gandalf or what? I don't know. How do you all read this? Or what do you think of this journalist story arc? Cathy? Or V?
Should I go? Okay.
Yeah,
We should
V?
go first, yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna piss people off right now. Although I want very much for the Stranger to be the Blue Wizard. Okay, I have said it 1,000 times. This last exclusive though, it's so Gandalf. Also, now that you mentioned Tom Bombadil, and that's the part I piss off people. What if the other wizard, magical creature that trains the Stranger, is Tom Bombadil, and the Stranger is Gandalf?
Yes,
So Gandalf
yes.
says that because he's like, I haven't seen Tom in ages, since he was my Yoda to my Luke Skywalker.
I mean,
I hate it.
at this point, who
Because
knows?
I want Tom in a more like funny way. I want Tom in the show so bad, but I don't know if it's the correct way to see him in RHUN, to be honest. So I don't know. I want to be wrong, but at the same time, it reminded me so much when you said that quote. I immediately thought, oh my god, Tom can be the other magical creature.
I mean, I don't know. I don't. I agree. It's theoretically a possibility, but I don't think they would do this. I agree. I think that if we're gonna see Tom Bombadil anywhere in the show, he should be what we see in the Fellowship of I almost said the Fellowship of Hands, Fellowship of the Ring. Like this funny
We
guy
have
in
Tom
his corner
Bombadil
of.
with us, guys.
Tom Bombadil is one of us. The cat is out of the bag now. I think we need to see, if we are going to see Tom Bombadil anywhere in the show, he needs to be just as he is, silly and in tune with nature and all of that. And I think
Yellow
that's it.
boots.
But he would, if we are going to reference the the comparison we had with Star Wars. Like, if there's a character in Middle Earth who can be a silly magical mentor like Yoda, like that's not Bombadil.
That's Tom, yes.
But I mean, I think and hope that that's not going to happen. Cathy, what do you want to say?
Okay, so I'll try short sound bites on several things. So first thing, stranger's identity. I would be absolutely gutted if he wasn't Gandalf, because the way this is developing is such a beautiful story, how he, like, learned to appreciate the bravery of hobbits / Harfoots. It doesn't make sense to me for him to be anyone else, because like, narratively speaking, like, this is it. This is how he, like, you know what I mean. Like, when he says to Galadriel, like, that power, that to defeat evil, some, like, Saruman think that you need more power, and he learned that it's in small acts of kindness and everyday, like, interaction, like, where it lies, and that's why hobbits give him hope. So this would be a beautiful story. That's one. The second one,
I just want to quickly. I actually, that's one of my favorite quotes from the movies, but actually it's a Peter Jackson quote or whoever else. It's not actually a Tolkien quote. But I mean, they might as well use it as an unofficial inspiration, so you could still be on point with that.
It's from the movies, right? Yes, yeah. The second one, what was it? His future character arc. I love it that he is going to be an enemy of Sauron, and I really hope that we have some kind of relationship between them, because I was always interested in what was happening when they were all in Valinor, and what was that place before Valinor, up Ea or something like that, like.
Ea is like all of the existence. So there's like Ea is like the existence basically, and then within Ea there's this little pocket that's created, and then all the Valar and the Maiar, or like those spirits that then come from this big place called Ea into this small place. They become known as Valar and the Maiar. That's called Arda, and Arda is like this world where Middle Earth is a continent.
Okay.
But this is like this. So what you're saying is this world before the world we know was created. In this world, in this time of existence before that, that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So that's what I want to know, like, if they knew each other from before, and even if they didn't, like, some relationship between two Maiar, would be interesting to see, because we've never seen it before in the movies or in the books, and like, and finally, what was it? Something about Tom Bombadil. Yes. Okay, I agree that you should not underestimate funny guys, Yoda, Mr. Miyagi, Tom Bombadil. So yes, like, mentors can be funny and effective.
I'm not gonna argue with that. That is on point. I'm not gonna argue with that. But I think in this case, I mean, I don't know. It's so, all of this is it's all very esoteric, and it's all very obscure and not described well. We really know literally just a couple of sentences. Like if so that quote I read, and you can find it on the website Lothar Fandom. If you just Google Blue Wizards, one of the first two websites that will be shown to you. You open it, and then there's this description that I read earlier in this episode. This is all we know basically about their character arc, and it's like, we don't know anything about their abilities, we don't know anything about the way their minds work and all of that. And in this show, they really have only like the very basic notes and like a very basic skeleton that they really need. They literally have the skeleton of the story, and they have to create all the muscles, the tendons, the organs, the skin, the hair, everything. Like, just imagine how crazy of a job that is. So they took a very big bite. Hopefully, they can chew it properly.
I mean, on the other hand,
yeah.
it's a blank canvas, so they can do whatever they
It
like.
is. Yeah, but that's it. Like, they
with
also have to find the
Gandalf,
measure to.
It's a bit more. Yeah. Anyways,
just the quickest thing about Tom. Tom is supposed to be some being, like even older than Valar and Maiar, right? Something like that.
It's unclear, but yeah, he's ancient. We don't. No one knows how old he is actually, but he's ancient. Yeah.
You don't ask him for his age.
That's why it would make sense to me that he was the trainer instead of somebody who is on, like another wizard's level rank, right? That makes more sense to me than like training by a blue wizard. But we'll see. I mean, like, this is just our speculation. Like, we know there is a training by a magical being, like, who may be a wizard, but who he is, like, we'll let you know if we find out. Okay.
Yeah, but
when we find out, we have to keep that. Like, have
for me,
a checklist.
If I have to make a bet, this is going to be whoever it was that the mystics referenced, because I think they say, I'm paraphrasing now, I'll try to like quote, but I'll paraphrase. I think they say, like, he said that this guy will be, this is Sauron or something like that. So this he person, I think this is going to be this magical mentor, and if I had to make a bet, I would make a bet, because I was hoping for it, that it's going to be one of the blue wizards. But as Cathy said, we have no idea at this point who this might be. Yeah, okay. So I think we covered a lot of stuff tonight. Yeah. Do you ladies have any final thoughts on any of the scoops?
I don't think so.
No? All right. Well, then I think we did a pretty good job. I think this is one of the most packed episodes of Second Age show ever. There was a lot of, like, every exclusive invites, a lot of discussion. I'm looking forward to everybody's theories, folks. Please share with us any thoughts, any theories, any comments you have. We love hearing those. We like hearing your thoughts on everything. So share it in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. It helps the channel a lot. And yeah, thank you very much for being with us. Also, thank you to V. Thank you very much for being with us. It's good to have you here. Always.
Thank you for having me, especially for the first episode with Scoops. And I think that's why you start the year with a good packed episode. Also, the boss has informed me that there is going to be an AMA afterwards on Discord, so don't miss that. And I'm waiting to see your theories on Twitter as well. I will be very disappointed if you say nothing, because I always want to have comments on Twitter. So yeah, AMA on Discord and your theories everywhere, wherever you want to discuss them. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us, and hopefully we'll see you again soon on Second Age Show. Cathy, as usual, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for all the
I just have
cool
one
takes.
thing to say. I wanted to say it for so long, and I always forget, but today is the chance. Thank you guys so much for working your schedules around my time zone, because you are deep in the night, and I'm still, early evening. So, thank you. It's really appreciated.
Well, it's teamwork, so we all make little compromises for each other. So that's what it's about.
What's the quote with the sacrifice? That one.
Yeah. A small acts of kindness. We can do that. Or no, true creation requires sacrifice. Actually, there we go. Sacrifices have been made, and we will continue making them, I guess. All right, folks. You heard we want to hear from you on Twitter. We want to hear from you on Discord. AMA is about to begin, so we're looking forward to your questions. and we are looking forward to talk with you again very soon. Hopefully you enjoyed this first episode of the Second Age show for this year, and we're looking forward to the next one. Take care and see you next time.